Welcome everyone to round 3, the final round of Star Wars Unlimited Locals at Valkyrie Vault on May 1st. This round will have me over here once again playing Trench Data Vault. I did win round 2 against Luke Data Vault, a deck I do actually kind of like as well. YouTube will ping you a little video in the corner so you guys can all check out the video where we looked at a deck profile for Luke Data Vault and played a game in 𝐂𝐐𝐓𝐃. So without further ado, let us begin this game. I do have the initiative here, so let's see how well this Trench deck does against Luke Data Vault. Anyways, both my opponent and I have finished resourcing. Well, I really don't have much of a play here, so I'm basically just going to pass on that. I just soft pass here because I do have the X34 Speeder. The problem is I will 100% say this card was not really all that good. I think 100% if I was going to change it out, I would change it out for Cloud Rider, which is the 3-1 ambusher, which would have been able to ambush out that and knock out that Battlefield Marine before it happened. Anyways, I'm going to bring out the good old Super Laser Technician so I can course ramp, resupply on my opponent's side of the board, and where I took initiative and passed. I'm going to just basically look at the Invincible. I'm pretty much just going to resource it. It's a little too late right now. Honestly, even really thinking about the Invincible in this deck, I wasn't really all that thrilled even with just 2 Invincibles. I'm then going to knock out the Battlefield Marine with the good old Super Laser Technician so I could use it. I'm going to waylay back Kain and Jarrus because I just can't let them have Kain and Jarrus, especially in a mill strategy like mine. My opponent is basically just going to claim the initiative there and then pass it over. Anyways, I'm going to put out the Greedo here, and I'm now at the 6 resources, so I'm at full resource for Trench here in game number 1, which is pretty nice here. Luke can come out this turn as well, so Luke Skywalker, first thing is going to be coming on out for the turn. I'm going to be paying 5 here, and I'm going to go Overwhelming Barrage. I'm going to do 5 damage to good old Luke Skywalker here, so that I can deal that extra little damage, as we have a Cover the Wing, a really good thing there right there, because then we get an X-Wing down onto the board. My opponent didn't really have X-Wing tokens, so they were trying to get some X-Wing tokens there for Cover the Wing. They finally go get some. But anyways, what has happened here is that I was hoping that this turn to knock out Luke Skywalker, basically go Greedo, deal the 5 damage to Luke Skywalker, then we'll go swing the 5 damage into the base. My opponent did hit my tripod, so I was just making sure the camera angle is working right now. I'm glad that at least this game right now has not gotten blurry like round 1 and 2. So anyways, Kain and Jarrus once again coming on down. We're going to then swing the 5 damage, good old, from Luke, and then we're going to start put a Kain and Jarrus, and then we're basically going to ensure that Kain and Jarrus is now going to be able to buff, basically get that shield token off of Luke. As a reminder, Luke gives a shield token on swing to any unit on the board. As we remove the Overwhelming Barrage, this basically stated is done. Anyways, my opponent so far has a better board control on me. Let us go right into playing a P38. We're going to knock out the shield off of the P38 with using the P38 so that Luke basically is now advantageously being able to be knocked out with a Greedo. So if we want to, we can easily go Greedo to knock out knock out Luke here, because again, won't have anything. We're going to go swing in. We're going to use the Greedo effect. Unfortunately, we missed the timing because we could have locked out Luke with Greedo there. We're going to spin the 3. We're going to go for the Trench. And we're going to show a Bazine, a Super Laser Technician, a Maul, and a Darth Vader. So anyways, the Maul and Vader are going to go to the drop, which makes complete sense. Well, our opponent is hoping that we're not going to see Palpatine's return because we can drag those both back. I am going to drag the Bazine into my hand here, just so I can rip some cards in my hand. Maybe the Super Laser Technician would have been the better choice here, because at least it deals 2 damage on the swing. We have Luke Skywalker coming down, dealing the -3 here, basically putting me down to 1. I am determining what I want to do with my... I was really hoping to actually swing the trench into Luke Skywalker, knock out Luke Skywalker this turn before more shield tokens can be spammed out on the board. Well, I'm just going to deal 1 damage to base, and then Luke Skywalker is going to knock out Trench, forcing me to have to resurrect him again. Not that it's very horrible. Anyways, we're going to go P38. It looks like my opponent's just going to swing at the base, knowing full well that the P38 basically does it. I'm going to take the initiative here and start out turn, and we're just going to charge 1. The problem here that you can see right now is my opponent has a much bigger board present in the ground than I do right now. The board is definitely in Luke's favor and not in my favor. So anyways, I'm going to then spin the 5 here, and we are immediately going to put down the Invincible, so that way if I decide to bring out a good old Trench here, I can then start spinning 3 cost ships back to my opponent's hand here. Not that this is going to do much against just a little old X-Wing. It's pretty much the only target. Luke Skywalker's effect, giving the 𝐂𝐐 right now. You can see where really I'm falling apart because right now all these shield tokens coming down onto this all over the place. So anyways, we're going to have the P-38 swing into the X-Wing, knock out the X-Wing, and then we're going to deal the 1 damage to Luke, and my camera decided to finally stop focusing. I apologize for not focusing. This is the first series of videos I'm doing with this, so I'll make sure my camera decides not to stop focusing. Anyways, home one is going to come on down, and then we're going to immediately is going to bring out the Battlefield Marine off its effect, and then we're going to bounce it back to hand using the Invincible. So anyways, my opponent is going to knock out both of my Bounty Hunters, and I'm going to pitch off the resupply here. Basically, the Bounty Hunter is the only way I can get events back from my drop. Anyways, my opponent has well over too much. I'm going to take 4 damage on Trench. I don't really mind if Trench takes the damage all over the place. Kanan Jarrus is then going to swing, deal 4, mill me 1, then heal off 1 damage. Basically, I have no damage on my opponent's base, and there's really not much I can do at 23 damage right now against a home 1 and a Luke Skywalker, even a Kanan Jarrus. Again, haven't seen the video or haven't seen Luke. Luke is a tap 1, pay 1, tap him. You can give a shield token to a heroic unit that came out that turn. He only gives it to a heroic unit that came out that turn. He's very specific on his effect, and then as we saw, when he's awakened, he can just give out shield tokens to any other unit, which is really nice. I really do like that ability just to kind of spam out shields, because there isn't much here that can like pierce through shields. Anyways, we're going to do No Good to Me Dead to rest out Luke Skywalker. Then we're going to have the home 1 swing in. Basically, I only have 3 health left. There's really not much I can really do. We're going to strike true to knock out the Kanan Jarrus, just try to control a little bit of the board state here. Not that there's much I can really do against that home 1. Basically because there's no way I could deal with it. And with the Concordon coming down, there is little to no way I could do anything. I'm going to bring out the Bazine to look at my opponent's hand. Basically 2 Battlefield Marines, a Rival's Fall, and then a takedown, and then they get to draw 1 off that. I did get rid of the Rival's Fall. I don't think it really mattered, honestly, because I still don't have much of a way to deal with the home 1. And I could, and I don't really have much of a way to deal with the Concordon. Sure, I can spin the Concordon back to his hand, with, of course, the effect of the Invincible, but that really doesn't help when there's no way for me to knock out all of the board presence there, and we're just going to scoop it up, and game 1 goes to Luke Datavault. All right, here we go, folks. Game 2, as we're going to start off with a Bazine. The Bazine is going to show really good cards here. We had a Fleet of Tune, we had a home 1, we do have a take there, and we do have, I believe, a Luke Skywalker. I am going to get rid of the home 1 because that is the greatest threat right now. Oh no, and then we have an Arc 170 coming down onto the space. I'm going to use Trench's ability to pitch Darth Vader. Basically, there's not really much of a point to keeping Darth Vader in hand because I have Palpatine's Return to basically resurrect him. So anyways, the Arc 170 is going to come up here. That's all my opponent really now has. Fleet Lieutenant on the Arc 170 to give it that +2 attack. Hitting 4/4, no real need to restore. We're going to do a Crafty Smuggler. Crafty Smuggler is going to come out with a shield. Bazine is going to deal 1 damage to the base, which again is going to be quite pointless because of the fact of the matter is the Arc 170 is basically just going to heal it off. I mean, what other option would I have? Swing into the Fleet Lieutenant? I guess that would have been a little made better. But anyways, I also have a Maul in hand, which is really good because I can trigger Trench to pitch that, and again, we're going to now go up to 6 damage. We're going to go 4. We are going to go 4 Lom. 4 Lom will ambush into the Fleet Lieutenant, and as long as he's up, if I play out a Zuckuss, I do get to use Zuckuss' effect. Anyways, we're going to pass once again. I'm going to restore. I did see a Palpatine's Return there, which is really nice because I have both a Darth Vader and a Maul I can utilize. I'm going to go 5 here. I am going to go Zuckuss. Zuckuss does get to ambush thanks to the 4 Lom's effect. So that means I got rid of Kanan Jarrus before Kanan Jarrus became a problem. We're going to go take down on the Zuckuss. Really good idea to just remove that because they both give Zuckuss and 4 Lom give each other +1/+1. We're going to go Arc 170 again. That's basically all my opponent has swung at me. They are just going to claim the initiative here. And I'm going to deal with the 4, 1, and a 2. So dealing with 7 damage overall, just basically immediately knowing kind of what I need to resource. This turn, it is time to start bringing out the Trench. I can also do Palpatine's Return as well, so that I can bring out Darth Vader and Maul, whichever one I want. As a reminder, Palpatine's Return does reduce if I target a Force unit by 8, so I can bring both of those characters out for free because they're both 7s. And I was debating on whether or not to use the Palpatine's Return here, but I decided first off I'm going to go for the 4 Lom swing and deal already the damage there. We're going to have a pay 2, and we're going to go down for the battlefield Marine. We're going to go Palpatine's Return. All 6, we are going to decide to go with Mr. Lord Vader. We're going to look at the top 10 cards of my deck. The only real target I have is Super Laser Technician. I also do have the 12th Fleet Defender as well, but unfortunately, the only real thing I hit in here is, unfortunately, really is just a Super Laser Technician. I do kind of say I would probably have put in maybe a Phase 3 Dark Trooper to have more, just a better, maybe a nicer target to go with for Palpatine's Return. Anyways, we do have Sabine's TIE Fighter coming down here into the sky. We're going to use Luke Skywalker to give a shield token to the Sabine's TIE Fighter. I am going to claim the initiative. My opponent is going to bring out Luke Skywalker here to see what they want to do with it. I have claimed initiative here, so they basically can do whatever they want. Anyways, Luke Skywalker's effect to then attack the base, and we're going to give a shield token over to the Arc 170. We're going to then draw a couple of cards. I believe I get a Boba Fett in hand, but I'm not exactly so sure about Boba Fett. Even in this deck, I might take out Boba Fett if I was going to do it again. Honestly, there's a lot of changes I do to this deck, or honestly, I would play Trench Blue. Basically, Trench Colossus, I think, is a whole lot better because I get a whole lot better control. Anyways, I'm going to pay 2, and I'm going to immediately decide to do No Good to Me Dead on Luke Skywalker so I don't have to worry about him giving a bunch of shield tokens all over the place. I do have another card you could use is Frozen and Carbonite, but Frozen and Carbonite can't target a leader, so No Good to Me Dead is a little good there. I am going to swing the Super Laser Technician into Luke Skywalker here, so that I can immediately then deal the damage off of Luke, so that I can immediately put it into my resources. Then I'm going to resurrect out Trench here because of that. All nice. Anyways, No Good to Me Dead, Zuckuss, so Zuckuss and No Good to Me Dead, and then the other two, I'm going to take the P-38 and I'm going to pitch off the 12th. I really like the P-38 a little better because I could do a couple things with the P-38 like this. I knock out the shield there, and then I can immediately kill Sabine's TIE Fighter, and then basically I'm going to swing in a bunch of damage because my opponent has decided just to claim, and I'm basically just swinging a whole lot. I did accidentally hit my dice there, just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do with it. Again, there's not really much to do with Luke Skywalker here because, again, he is No Good to Me Dead, so I really wasn't concerned about dealing with Luke. Now, again, he does not get to restand here because of No Good to Me Dead. States that my opponent cannot restand it in his regrouping phase, nor by any effects. So, Luke Skywalker is out of commission for a turn, which is really, really nice here. So that's really good. Again, that's what a good thing you can do with Boba Fett is if you could play it out a turn and then rest out the Luke, and Luke is arrested that turn, you can do things with it. So anyways, we have Battlefield Marine coming down with the home one here, just a massive problem. So no, we are going to go to the fleet. So my opponent decides to actually go to the Fleet Lieutenant to attack the base for 5 damage here off of the Sabine's TIE Fighter. Since we have both a blue and just a blue and green on the board, we do get a +1 token over to home 1, but I'm just going to waylay the home 1 back. And then Sabine TIE Fighter does get the heal 2 off of the base. Once again, a couple more damage points. We are going to go Overwhelming Barrage onto Lord Vader for the 7 here, and we're going to remove the damage off of Luke. Then we're going to kill off the Sabine's TIE Fighter. With my last, I will plink off the shield off of the Arc 170 so that that is no longer there. I'm then going to ram in the P-38 to the Arc 170, deal 1 damage to the Fleet Lieutenant, and then I'm going to basically kill it off with the Crafty Smuggler burning off its shield, and then swing for everybody, which again, Lord Vader is at 7 damage, and then 2, 1, and 4. So basically at this point, as you can see, I had a whole lot better board control. I do decide to pitch the Boba Fett off with the Trench. My camera finally decides that it's done staying in focus. Once again, apologies for not staying in focus as my opponent decides to scoop up game 2. Trench Data Vault gets game 2 as we go into game 3. All right, folks, welcome to the all-important game 3. It is a 1-1 right now, so my opponent is going to be on the play here. As we begin to see with an Arc 170 coming down, we're going to pay 2, and I am going to put out a Crafty Smuggler down on the board, coming out with the shield, and then I'm going to immediately trigger Trench to draw 1 card. My opponent did take the initiative. Of course, as we can see, I have, once again, another Super Laser Technician. Really good. I'm not sure. Maybe I would put in the supply ship in this deck as well, because a lot of times I found myself not really able to do a lot with a Super Laser Technician, ramming it into like ground targets. Anyways, we're going to do Perilous to knock out the Crafty Smuggler, giving it the -2/-2. We're going to then bring out a P-38, dealing 1 damage to the Arc 170, and doing that. So anyways, nothing much else to really do. I do have Palpatine's Return in hand. I'm just going to take the initiative here and basically keep that Palpatine's Return because I do have a Darth Maul right now in my drop that I can do things with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put out the Super Laser Technician and then basically have there and then bringing that out, seeing whether or not there are ground. But I will be doing something very special with it, with that P38 right now that is on the board. So 2 more from the arc, then I'm going to smash the P38, then I'm going to trigger the P38's ability. I don't have to target something on my opponent's board, I just have to target a unit on the board to deal the 1 damage from the P38 per its effect. So, really nice there, so I am going to go then bring out another Crafty Smuggler. So basically, I am at 5 now, and meaning I can get Trench out this turn, which is pretty nice. I am going to put a top card on my deck onto the bottom, and then basically now I have the trigger off of Trench. 4 damage coming in, and then we're going to immediately mail. Oh, that really does hurt. There's no healing to do, but that is a Palpatine's return that is no longer viable. I am deciding to whether or not I want to flip Trench, or I do have the Palpatine's return right now in hand that I'm considering triggering. So anyways, we're going to dash 2 damage into good old Kanan Jarrus here, so that we can just put some damage onto him, and that will remove the shield off the Crafty Smuggler. As a reminder, I can easily bring out Trench this turn, and then have Trench knock out Kanan Jarrus if he doesn't have a shield token. Village Protectors coming down. Ooh, that does kind of hurt. There, really didn't want to see the Village Protectors. Anyways, we're going to pay the 3, and I decided not to. I believe at this point, I'm not exactly sure. I am debating if I want to use Palpatine's Return, if I want to actually go for Trench, or I want to go for Overwhelming Barrage. I do decide to go Palpatine's Return. I would prefer to see Vader. I was deciding on whether or not to actually keep the damage on him, but I do decide to put the 2 damage onto Maul. Typically, Maul's ability for you all is if there's an Underworld card, Maul can actually push the damage he would take to the Underworld card instead. I was determining if I actually wanted to put it on the Crafty Smuggler or push it on Maul. But nonetheless, I did get rid of the shield. My opponent is going to take the initiative, and then we will just pass on to the next round. Alright, anyways, with this is also the turn in which Luke can come out as well, which is pretty nasty, because that does mean that we have now about 10,000 shields about to spill out like a madman. Anyways, we're going to go for Blue Squadron Escort. So basically the Blue Squadron leader is going to come down, pay the extra 2 so that it can come to the ground, get the 2 extra experience, and then just going to knock out them all. We're going to then use Crafty Smuggler to knock out the good old Village Protectors. We're then going to go 7, and we're going to put out Darth Vader. We're going to look at the top 10, and basically we can look for the 12th, the P38, and Super Laser Technician. We can also look for, no, the X34 is not actually villainy card, so all I really get to hit here is a Super Laser Technician. So anyways, we're going to bash 5 damage into good old Luke Skywalker here off of the Vader, and take 4 back. Luke is going to then swing. I probably might have decided to actually swing and knock out Kanan Jarrus. It probably should have actually been my target. Off Kanan. Kanan is going to then pitch off the 12th Fleet Defender. But yeah, now thinking about it, I probably should have maybe knocked out Kanan Jarrus, because I could have easily still knocked out Luke with the Super Laser Technician and Darth Vader that same turn, and I wouldn't have to worry about having to go through a shield off of Kanan Jarrus. But yeah, that's probably what I should have done here, as I'm going to go Overwhelming Barrage, knock out the shield on Kanan and knock out Luke. So basically, I could have done the exact same thing with just could have actually done that a little differently. I probably should have done that completely different, knocked out Kanan Jarrus to ensure there's no shield on Kanan Jarrus, and with the Overwhelming Barrage, I believe I drew, or I knew I had in hand, I can't remember, and then just knock out Luke, take down on the good old Lord Vader, because he only has 5 remaining, he has less than 5 remaining health. We're going to go, Surprise Strike using the Super Laser Technician to knock out Kanan Jarrus. Otherwise, under normal means, I can't knock out Kanan Jarrus. Anyways, that will be a pass there as we move into the next round here. Luke Skywalker has been burnt as well. As a reminder, Trench does not have an epic action. He basically just constantly pays 3, mills top 4 cards, and comes out. Anyways, we got an Obi-Wan Kenobi in the blurriness, as we're going to waylay back Obi-Wan Kenobi, because who cares about Obi-Wan Kenobi? We just want to return him away. Why I really like Cunning is because we do have all these really good control cards, and Cunning like all that. So anyways, we have No Good to Me Dead, a Overwhelming Barrage, and the Bazine. Those 2 are going to go to the graveyard off my opponent. And then I'm just going to bring out the Bazine, and I'm going to basically get rid of the Luke Skywalker, because he is the biggest threat right now to come out next turn and start dealing stuff. And then I'm going to just spin for and swing for with the Trench. Hey, look, there is damage finally on my opponent's base. I'm just going to take a quick glance through my drop here. Anyways, as you can see, this is kind of how you deal with the blue heroic deck. So you just got to get the board presence under your control. Now, again, that's not great because again, blue does have a lot of really good control cards, a lot of really good kill cards, as Obi-Wan Kenobi is once more here for you all. What a great man he is, Mr. Kenobi. Anyways, I'm just going to pay straight 7 here, and I'm going to bring out the one, the only Darth Maul, and Darth Maul is going to come on down. He is going to then bash into Obi-Wan Kenobi and then knock him straight out with 1 overwhelming damage. Obi-Wan Kenobi has nothing to give those experience tokens to, as there's nothing to bring out. Anyways, we have a Battlefield Marine here. I'm just simply going to go bash into the Battlefield Marine, take the 3 damage onto the trench, and then deal 1 damage base with Bazine. I'm basically just playing board control at this point, just because I know for a fact I just need to be on a board-controlled state so that I can keep my opponent off of any plays and force them basically, in essence, to end up being the only thing they can play is basically just kill spell cards. Again, that's what blue really good at for its board control state is the kill spell cards, but I am more perilous to playing more of just straight control. So anyways, we're going to go Rivals Fall to knock out the Maul just so the 7 full damage doesn't come down, and I'm going to then spin the 3 to smuggle out the blaster and then hit for 6 damage on base with the blaster. And then put a card. I will tell you the card I put on top of my deck into my for the payment for the smuggle was a Darth Vader. So off my so I think 2 or 3 Darth Vaders are now out of my deck. Anyways, I'm going to go No Good to Me Dead on the Arc 170 because I will do it later on. But anyways, I got the Gorillas. Gorillas card coming down 3 indirect damage. And if any of that indirect damage hits the base, they do get to restand. My opponent has decided to go for the indirect damage. Indirect damage also goes straight through shields. So there's no way to go through the shielding. So in this case, the Arc 170 dies for off the 3 indirect damage. Or everything else comes down. So anyways, I decide not to resource here. There's not really a point as I try to get my resources exactly how I like them. I like having my resources upside down so it differentiates between what is a resource and what is not a resource. Anyways, so my camera is back to becoming blurry here. Again, as my opponent is going to drop the Redemption, is going to then heal, I believe, 5 damage off of it so that it doesn't technically fully die. But anyways, it's going to then die here. So my opponent actually joked that they should have actually healed 4 because then the P-38 couldn't kill off the Redemption. Instead of doing the 5, which the P-38 plus the 1 damage from the P-38 does actually knock it out. Anyways, we're going to bring out the 12th Fleet Defender. Does come in with a shield. We're going to do Cover the Wing to give a second shield token over to the Arc 170 and then create a X-Wing. I'm going to do No Good to Me Dead on the Arc 170 because it's now a double shield Arc 170 that I cannot deal much with. And I'm going to bring out another 12th Fleet Defender and then have another shield as well. And I'm just going to swing with all of my ground, dealing straight 20 so far damage to the base. My opponent is on 18. So right now the sky is not overly great because there is an Arc 170 that has 2 shields on it. That would mean I'd have to smash it twice in the face to knock out both shields here. But you'll see I will definitely be changing how my tactics is. And once again, I am Yellow Villainy. So what does Yellow Villainy care about doing anything else? Besides maybe just simply doing some fun little things. Just kind of deciding on what I want to do. So I'm just going to smash into the Concord Dawn, dealing 3 damage to the Concord Dawn here. And then knocking out my shield. Luke is going to give a shield to the Concord Dawn, which is pretty nasty, because there's not much I could do with a Concord Dawn. I mean, I'm going to drop the Invincible, but it's pretty much going to be kind of pointless. But I do get to reduce the cost of the Invincible by 1, because I do have a Separatist unit on the board and the state of Trench. My opponent has another Concord Dawn on the battlefield. I'm just going to make sure that Arc 170 cannot restand at the end of the turn, and when we have a Bright Hope blocking the space, and I'm going to then swing once again another 12th Fleet Defender, deal 3 damage to the other Concord Dawn, and I'm just going to bring out the good old Super Laser Tech down onto the ground. And then basically I'm going to swing with all of my guys, Trench, the Gorillas, and Bazine at the base. So at this point, my opponent has the sky well under control, but not the ground under control. Basically, they're going to scoop it up. And in the end, Trench Evolved gets to walk away with this win and does get to walk away X1 for the event. But yes, this was a lot of fun here. You kind of see the nature of heroic leaders when you get their boards under control. There's not really much they could do except maybe play 1 card a turn, or use 1 kill card a turn. So kind of really pivotal that you get control of the board state. As you can see, the space was a little out of control, but I do have 3 guys here that can do some things in space, so I could easily like swing the Invincible over Bright Hope, knock it out, because I do get to pick which one of the Sentinels I do want to go into, and then I can easily just smash one of the Concord Dawns out of the sky, and had to smash another Concord Dawn, and then the Arc 170 doesn't get to restand until next turn. So, nonetheless, Trench gets to walk away with the Ren. Congratulations. I believe I came 5th overall in the event, so congratulations to the Trench deck, because honestly, I may bring back the blue one to my locals as well. And as a reminder, if you guys want to come to a Star Wars Unlimited locals and you're in the Indianapolis area or near the Brownsburg area, Valkyrie's Vault is a great place to come. It is every Thursday at 6 o'clock. I will leave a link down in the description below to their page, where you can also get the link to the Discord server so that you guys can talk with them about it. If you need to pull cards, see what they got, pre-order product on all of that, you can do all of that in the Discord server. And let me know down in the comments your thoughts on the Luke Data Vault, on the Trench Data Vault, on the gameplay as well. And while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you get notified when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you here next time on Model Dragons TCG.